I'm going to discuss a very important woman to science and entertainment and education and to families and to kids. I mean, this lady made a difference to Chinese restaurants. Jeanne Villepreux Power, born 1794-1871. Although the name Jeanne Villepreux Power, I'm gonna say Jeanne Power, is little known now, the French naturalist was famous in her day for an invention that allowed people to study marine life more easily. The aquarium. Now, don't you see those aquariums in the Chinese restaurants? And then also families love them because, you know, aquariums and education and science and all that shit. Villepreux Power started her scientific studies on the island of Sicily. And in 1832, she started investigating the paper nautilus. Popular opinion held that the nautilus took its shell from another organism, but in order to determine if this was true, she needed to be able to observe one closely. Villepreux Power created the first glass aquarium so she could observe the nautilus in controlled conditions, proving that it made its own shell. She went on to design two additional variants, a glass apparatus within a cage for studying shallow water creatures, and a cage-like aquarium that could be raised and lowered to different depths. For her groundbreaking work, Villepreux Power became the first female member of the Catania Academia, as well as over a dozen other scientific academies. And that's from amightygirl.com. Now, from Wikipedia, Villepreux Power, born Jeanne Villepreux on September 24th, 1794. Passed on January 25th, 1871. She died at the age of 77. Was a pioneering French marine biologist who in 1832, like I just said, was the first person to create aquaria for experimenting with aquatic organisms. The English biologist Richard Owen referred to her as the mother of aquariophily. She was the inventor of the aquarium and the systematic application of the aquarium to study marine life, which is still used to this day. In her time as a forefront cephalopods researcher, she proved that the Argo produces its own shells as opposed to acquiring them. Villepreux Power is also noted as a noted dressmaker, author, and conservationist, as well as the first female member, as I said earlier. I need to look up what this is, Catania Academia Gioenia. Early life, because this is very interesting to me. Villepreux Power was born in Juliette, Corrèze on September 24th, as we said, or 25th, 1794. The eldest child of a shoemaker. And I just saw a picture of a shoemaker having his lunch. It was very interesting thinking about a man just making shoes all day. I mean, what a simple life. And the life we lead now is so complicated and all these extra things and saw her. She lived until age 18 in rural France. And then she moved, where she learned to read and write. Moving to Paris at the age of 18, I thought she lived until 18 she died, so that means that she invented the aquarium at like 12. But no, she lived in that place in rural France, Francois. Moving to Paris at the age of 18 in 1812, she walked to Paris to become a dressmaker. A distance of over 400 kilometers or 250 miles. That's a lot of miles to walk. I was just thinking, putting it in car perspective, because I know that driving certain places like 9 miles, and I think that's far. Driving. So 250 miles walking. She was accompanied by her cousin to act as her guardian, but he assaulted her and left her to seek refuge in an Orleans police station until she could receive new travel documents. Lord Jesus, this piece of shit cousin molested her and took off. Wow. Due to that delay, her initial opportunity had since been occupied by someone else. She found another opportunity working as a seamstress assistant. She built out and proved her skills many times over until she became fairly well known. In 1816, she became well known for creating the wedding gown of Princess Caroline in her wedding to Charles Ferdinand de Bourbon. She met and married the English merchant James Power in 1818, and the couple moved to Sicily and settled in Messina, where they lived for about 25 years. That's incredible. So before she even made the aquarium, before she became a scientist, I guess, I'm assuming, she also made dresses. She made the damn dress of the princess of that fucking country. Whoa. Something just got here from the Amazonian man. Foray into science. It was after moving to Sicily where Jeanette, Villepreux Power, took an interest in continuing her education. What time is it? Okay, it's that time. She began to study geology, archaeology, and natural history. In particular, she made physical observations and experiments on marine and terrestrial animals. She wanted to inventory the island's ecosystem and did so during frequent walks around the city. As she traveled, she would document and collect samples, which were later compiled and published in Itinerario della Sicilia, Riguardante tutti I rami de storia. This is the longest name. Natural e pareci di antichità che essa contiene and guida per la Sicilia. And they didn't even translate it for us. Villepreux Power then began to more intently study cephalopods and other marine life, and was in need of a vessel that would allow her better access to observation over time of the same marine animals. While land animals could be observed somewhat easily, marine life was distinctly harder to examine. As such, she worked to develop a glass enclosure, ultimately developing 3 working models. Oh, the other one just said she had 2. 3 working models to study live marine life in and out of the water. The first was the aquarium as we know it today. The second glass, so she invented the aquarium and just boom, that's it. And then she made an even better one. The second glass surrounded by a case that was submerged in the ocean. Oh, that's tight. The third, an anchored cage also to be submerged in the ocean for larger marine life like mollusks. In 1834, Professor Carmelo Maravigna wrote in the Giornale Letterario dell'Accademia, Gioenia di Catania, that Villepreux's power could be credited with the invention, should be credited with the invention of the aquarium and systematic application of it to the study of marine life. I'm sorry, guys. Sometimes it's hard to read when you're tired after work. Her first book was published in 1839. I think I already read that. Oh yeah. She also studied her second book, Guida la Sicilia, 1842. I think I read some of it. She favored Argonauta. Argo at the time there was uncertainty over whether the Argonaut species produced its own shell or acquired that of a different organism similar to hermit crabs. Villepreux Power's work showed that they do indeed produce their own shells. As a groundbreaking discovery, there was a considerable amount of backlash that she received for her work. Fucking haters, how can you? The proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the aquarium, man. Villepreux Power was also concerned with conservation and is credited with developing sustainable aquaculture principles in Sicily. Being intrigued also helped to find ideas of aquaculture, which is largely considered a more sustainable food source in the future. Specifically, they're utilizing cages attached to the shore containing fish at different life cycle stages to generate repopulation opportunities that could be moved to underpopulated rivers. She was the first woman member, and I've said this 3 times, of the Catania Academia Geoennia, and a corresponding member of the London Zoological Society and 16 other learned societies. Later life, Villepreux Power and her husband left Sicily in 1843, and many of her records and scientific drawings were lost in a shipwreck. Although she continued to write, she conducted no further research. She did, however, become a public speaker. She and her husband divided their time between Paris and London. She fled Paris during a siege by the Prussian army in the winter of 1870. Returning to Juliet, she died in January of 1871. In 1997, her name, Villepreux Power, was given to a crater on Venus by the Magellan probe. They named a crater after him. Crazy. They should have named a planet, a star, a moon, a crater. Popular culture. A biographical song about Jeanne Villepreux is featured on 26 Scientists Volume 2, Newton Dazino, the 2008 album by the California band Artichoke. That sentence right there, it didn't make any sense. I mean, it did, but it didn't. So you're saying there's a band from California? Of course they're from California. No hate on California, but they have to be, right? Named Artichoke. And in the year of 2008, a year after I was born, the birth of my son was born that year. Oh wait, that is album, 26 Scientists, Volume 2, Newton Dazino. So Isaac Newton, Jeanne Villepreux, and others. There's songs dedicated to each one. Now that's tight. It sounds in theory tight, but what the fuck? I gotta listen to that. Anyway, Secrets of the Sea. The story of Jeanne Power, revolutionary marine scientist, a 2021 biographical picture book by Evan Griffith and illustrated by Joni Stone, adapts the story of Jeanne's discoveries and legacy into an educational children's book. I mean, that's cool, but they need to give this woman a book, like a book, a real autobiographical book. Well, right. Can't be biographical book. Like the movie. Where's the fucking movie? Where's the series? Where's the Netflix show for this badass woman in Herstory? Jeanne Villepreux. Hopefully I'm saying it right. Power. Girl power. Alright. It's weird. I was gonna read these Spanish verses I wrote. I was trying to like make some Bad Bunny shit, make some like Spanish reggaeton type shit. Like whenever I was in the summer, I was writing a verse a day. And 2 days in a row, I wrote 2 Spanish verses. And you know what I mean. One each day. And they're pretty funny. They made me laugh, but I probably shouldn't read them. I'm not gonna read them. And I don't know if I can freestyle right now. Actually, I'm gonna get a beat and we'll try to do a freestyle. And we'll come right back and wrap this baby up with a nice little bow on the top.